CMPRadio.net, man. You already know it's your boy, Uncle P, man. We are live from the Cultivating Mature Positivity Studios, man. Share this live one time for the one time. This is the Cultivating Mature Positivity Podcast, right? Where we come together with different people from different communities and we talk about issues. Today's issue, we will be addressing gun violence in Black communities, right? How can we fix it? How can we bring it not all the way to a halt? Because we know we can't fix all the violence and all the crimes that take place in our city and other cities and other Black communities. But how can we address it? How can we help it, right? How can we give people a place to be themselves, to hope for themselves, to believe in themselves, to have faith in themselves? How can we do that, right? So before we do that, man, I want to talk about what's happening tomorrow night at the the Cat Center. I apologize. Chester Powell, man. Chester, come out, man. Support poetry, art, and laughter, man. We got poets, we got artists, we got comedians, hosted by Portia P and Jamil B, right? Poets, we got India Famous on Jupiter, Slick the Hitman, Queen Chris. We got artists coming through. We got Bala, Fitzgod, Rand. Man, listen, we got comedians. You already know Ashley Guy, Lamar Todd, Jay Sutton, and Jamil B will be co-hosting with Portia P, man. Make sure you come through. $30 at the door. Pow, music, man. It's awesome. DJ Darrell will be doing a mini what he does, right? From 9:30 to 11, we got drinks. We got, you already know, the Woo Juice Ambassador, Thick Girls is Fly CEO, Mary Jackson, for the people that want to drink. And we got food. That's right. The Beige Brown Hibachi Experience, man. Come through, get there, and celebrate, man. It's Pow, man. The CMPRadio.net. You already know it's the station. It's the people's station. It's the foundation. But right now, I want to welcome on a good friend of mine, man. Last year, he asked for an interview. This year, I called him and said, let's talk about what's happening in our communities. He's going to let you know where he's from, right? And let's bring him on. Alim Howell, how are you, brother?
I'm good, P. Thank you for having me today.
Oh, man, no problem. No problem at all, man. So I called you. We were talking about addressing gun violence in Black communities. And you said you kind of wanted to start with the young man that was shot, right. The 17-year-old that was shot in Wallingford Apartments. Prayers go out to his family. Prayers go out to him. So let's start there, and then we're going to talk about how we can address gun violence in our community.
Right. Sabri Pierce, right. 17-year-old from Chester High School. And, this gun violence and drug sale possession in our especially in our Black communities, just still keeps happening and happening and happening. And, it goes back to the parents of these teenagers, trying to get a grip and control our youth and our young ones, under the age of 18, K through 12 grade. That's a crucial time in their lives. They can, make or break their lives, and then as a teenager, you're talking about 17-year-olds shooting each other up and murdering each other. Right. That shouldn't be happening. No, but it all goes back, to important people like yourselves and your other staff members at CMP Radio and stuff. And it all goes back to the parents, though, of these teenagers at Chester High School and other high schools too, and out here in Upper Darby, I'm in Upper Darby, and I'm originally from Ardmore, Baco. It's all up to the parents of these youth, but it's a shame that it keeps happening. Like when we were on the phone, you were saying all these anti-violence, gun violence events and stuff like that. All these events are all good with the political representatives and all that, but it just still continues to happen and happen and happen. And then, we have these anti-violence, balling against gun violence events. Sometimes I participate with Urban Navigation. That's at the Darby Barrel Recreation Center with the former mayor, or the current mayor, Ed Brown and Hameen Diggins. That's them and stuff. But then these events, the anti-gun violence events, they happen everywhere in Chester, Upper Darby, but nothing changes. That's what I'm trying to say. Nothing changes. But it all goes back to the parents of these youth, of what their child is doing. Life ain't perfect, and you can't be on your child, 24/7. But like, you can for darn sure, get the vibe of their intentions. Like, I can tell my son is probably out here selling drugs, or he has a gun possession. Like, parents know their kids. They birthed them. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, like, you know, I know you have children, you have a daughter and stuff. You would know what she's doing. You know what I'm saying? Her intentions is like, oh, she's trying to be sneaky, or what are you up to? What you doing?
Absolutely.
You know, and that's my 2 cents on it.
I mean, for me, I feel as though it's a multifaceted approach to curbing gun violence, right? It definitely takes the parents. I think the parents are their first teacher. The parents are who are in charge of the children and who allow things to continue to go. But it also takes a village, right? And, you know, our Black communities got away from the village mentality when crack hit, right? It put distrust in us, right? It made us not trust our own people and the own people in our community, right? And then people took advantage of that, right? People use that to their advantage for them to make money, for them to abuse people, for them to hurt people. And so it's just a big mistrust in our community. And until we get that trust back, our community will continue to suffer. Now, this is not just Chester, right? Because over the last 4 years, I've been working with the district attorney's office, Jack Stolzheimer, Corey Long, Brother Raheem, Gio. We've been working in our community to curb the gun violence, but it's hard, right? If everyone doesn't help, everyone has to help. It's not just the people that are getting paid. It's the people that aren't getting paid. It's the people that have responsibility to the children. It's the community. It's local leadership. It's so much. It's the police, right? And I feel as though if we continue to ignore the things that stick up, you know what I mean, it will continue to happen, right? So just, you know, you have to consider both immediate interventions and long-term solutions when you're thinking about how can we stop gun violence, right? Because it's a big situation. I think the past situation that happened, that was not supposed to happen like that, right? It was an accident. I've been advocating for gun safety classes, how to teach people how to use a gun. Then everybody on the other side say, well, if you teach them how to use a gun, they're going to use it. I said, well, 9 times out of 10, people are going to use a gun anyway. Right? Whether I teach you how to use it or I don't teach you how to use it. At least if I teach you how to use it, you know how to put your safety on your gun. You know what I mean? You know how to holster it correctly. You know how to pull it out, right? You know what to do. You know, you can see the damage that it does to people. You know what I mean? And you can also understand how powerful it is. I think the very first time, so me, myself, I ran the streets of Chester. I didn't do it publicly because my grandmother was here, and I did it under the train tracks. I said I was in the dark. I was the guy that popped out when you needed something and dipped back in, right? I wasn't out there, you know, lollygagging, but I was involved with a lot of different people. A lot of different people brought me up, and the first person that brought me up was my cousin, right? And he told me how to do this and how to do that, right? And he showed me. He said, "Well, you got a gun in your hand, put the safety on because you don't want to shoot your nuts off," right? Just dumb stuff like that, right? So it's just talking to our kids in a way that they understand, the way that they accept it. But I think the main thing to stop the gun violence is the violence interruption programs that we have in our city, right? That's what kind of curbed it. We had Making a Change group with G-Vine, man. Those brothers over there working for Corey Long and working for Making a Change group are doing an excellent job at mentoring children, right? And you need somebody that comes from that life to come back out of it to tell the kids, hold on, this is not where you want to be, right? You don't want to do this, right? So we had some numbers drop. We have CPSN, right? That's Jack Stolzheimer's program, the district attorney's office. Shout out to Matt Krause and Tanner Rouse for leading that program. Melissa Muroff, right? We're making things happen, but we don't have enough people because we don't have enough money. I was in a meeting today talking about, you know, how much money is enough money to do everything. And I said, at least $5 million a year, right? Because what we need, right, is at least 36 people hired to be in the streets. You say you got a population of 36,000 people in the city of Chester. So we need 36 people hired full-time, getting paid to do this job. And it's hard. It's hard to be able to get everybody on the same page. But when money is offered, healthcare is offered, things to help them improve their life, training, right? I go to therapy. They got me going to therapy. I go to therapy. I'm talking to the therapist from Black Men Heal, right? All of these things are critical to help us continue to move, right? So I say take some of that money that y'all using for jail and everything else and bring that over here and put it here and allow us to help these young men, because without help, it will continue to get worse. My cousin said there's a thing called night terrors, right? And he was like, you're going to have 12, 13, 14-year-old kids running up in houses and just shooting people for nothing, right? Because they don't have, or they didn't receive enough. And you got to give back to that. You got to understand that that's what the future can have if we don't stop it now. And like I said, we're doing all that we can do. We're working, we're meeting, we're having meetings, we're talking to people. But I think it's all about the money coming in, right? So the money comes in and it allows us to grow, right? The money comes in and we can give it out, right? I'm not the type of person that just wants to be concerned with money, but it is important, right? Because you're asking somebody to dedicate their full time to mentor, to help, to be there, to be supportive, to give time. So
speaking of the money, you're right about that. And before our interview today, I was speaking with Mayor Stefan Roots, one of his staff members. He's the assistant, Justin Tibbles.
Right.
I was speaking with him over the phone around 3 o'clock today in the afternoon. We had a good 20-minute conversation, and he said the same thing you just said.
Right.
For the city of Chester, it's about the money. But
Right.
then my question was, it's been about the money since,
Forever.
the beginning. Yeah, right, forever and stuff.
Right.
But then a part of it, too, is the mental health.
Yes.
What would make a youth or any age group want to shoot someone and murder someone? You know what I'm saying? It's really about mental health and the programs that can offer for the mental health.
But you want to make sure you're getting good mental health specialists. You want to make sure you're able to help them accordingly. And that takes money. Everything revolves around money. Everybody, oh man, you just money hungry. Tell me somewhere you can go and get good services for free. Tell me somewhere where you don't have to pay any money and you can get good quality food. Can you go and shop right and say, I ain't got no money, and go in there and shop? No, you can't, right? It takes money. Somebody's going to have to pay for that. And the services that we require for young people, like I want to say we're all the way down to age 10, where we have to talk to young kids to get them to understand who they are, right? Put hope inside of them. You put hope, then faith comes, then belief comes, then they can dream, then they can do whatever they want to do, right? They're not worried about doing the same thing they see. You know what I mean? So if you can talk to children and help children, you can change it. I know you can, right? I saw it happen for the last 3 years, right? People coming to a point where they understood what they needed to do. It's just summertime is coming, right? And when summertime comes, you have more people that are available and accessible to the bull, right? And then they get outside and then it's too hot and you get frustrated, you get mad, you feel some type of way. And then you have an accident. Or then you have a shooting, and then it just starts. One shooting starts another shooting, another shooting, another shooting. And it's just like dominoes. And it's hard to step in front of that when you have a family at home, when you have kids that need, when you have to do things, right? It's hard to do that. But like I said, Corey Long, CASA, Chester Community Coalition, right? They are mental health advocates, right? So if we can get them some money so they can do it for free, it's all good. But money is the root of all happiness, and everything coming into fruition for us will require some money.
Money for the programs that are needed.
Absolutely. You got support for returning citizens, right? LeBron Brown reentry, right? Abdul-Rahim King, Jonathan Abdul-Rahim King. He has his reentry situation. He's helping people, right? So, but that takes money. Without money, you can't do anything. Without money, no one will ever see you, right? So we need that $5 million. We need money to come into this, right? They gave us some money. I think in 2020, what happened was COVID happened and the world stopped, and then everybody had a chance to witness the crimes that were being done towards Black people, and people felt some type of way about that. They were upset. They wanted to help, and that's cool. They gave us money. That money has to continue. Right, it shouldn't stop. So let's figure that out, man. I said I was gonna write Jeff Bezos and send him a little letter and see if I can, get him to give us some money every year. Because there are tons of programs and activities that are nice, but they just don't have the money to continue, and they don't have the money to widen their reach. You feel me? It's cool if they can get 15, 20, 40 kids, but it needs to be wider than that, right? You need at least 400 kids in your summer camp. You need at least 400 kids over here. We need a pool. We need a real pool, Olympic-sized swimming pool. You know what I mean? We need to have resources to give to our children, the YMCA, the YWCA, Salvation Army. All of these places in other towns and other areas are doing good. I remember I used to go to Arizona and look at the Salvation Army. They had like a water park in that joint.
Mm.
One for the older kids and the adults, and then one for the little kids, right? So we need money.
It all goes back for the money part and the currency. It all goes back to our Congresswoman Mary Gay Scaling,
right.
The senator for City of Chester, John Kane. Then for us, it's Senator Tim Carney.
Right.
And it all goes back, and then our state reps, Gina Curry,
right.
and then Carol Kazim.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So it all goes back from because they push like money for grants and stuff, and they give out money for grants for like businesses, small businesses, nonprofits,
right.
the schooling. It all goes back to our political representatives. So it's like the two. It's like the two P's. It's the politicians and then the parents.
Right.
The two P's.
Right.
So this money part you're talking about, that's exactly what needs to be presented to our political representatives that represent our districts. And it can also go all the way up to Governor Josh. So,
it should go all the way up the hill, right? You have to push for policies that invest in underserved communities, right? Improving schools, housing, economic opportunities to address root causes and violence, right? All of these things are important. And if we're not addressing them, if we're not getting people, if people don't believe that we can stop violence, we'll never be able to stop it, right? And I know everybody says you can't completely stop everybody from picking up a gun, but it looks like it when you minimize it. When it becomes something that happens once every 40, 50 days, it looks like, oh no, they were able to stop it, right? And then when it happens every day, somebody else is like, no, that was all. No, it wasn't. The money's drying up, right? People can't go out there into the community, right? And then people, if they don't have job security, if they're worried about something vanishing or disappearing or leaving, how do you expect the person to continue moving on? They can't, right? So, I think all that's important. I think police reform is another thing, right? We have to implement community policing. We need the cops that are in the city to be in the community, right? I don't need you riding around in your car. I don't need you parked in somebody's parking lot sitting there. I need you in the community, walking up and down the street, knocking on doors and talking to grandmas and helping little kids play football and playing. Become a part of your community. Officer John Ross, man, good friend of mine, man. I remember one day I was in Highland Gardens. He was throwing the baseball with the kids. Then I go on the east side. He was throwing the baseball with the kids, right? He's a person that cares about the community. He's involved with the community. So, if we can't get those type of police officers that grew up in the city of Chester, that are from the city of Chester, that care about the city of Chester, then who do we have, right? Commissioner Steve Gretzky grew up in the city of Chester, very involved, very, very, very supportive. You know what I mean? We need more cops like that. We need people that understand my job becomes easier when I involve myself in my community. My job becomes easier when people can see me. My job becomes easier and easier to deal with when I'm out here in the community, not in the office, not in the car, not just riding past, but I'm in the community, when I know people, when I'm shaking hands, when I'm saying hi to grandma, when I'm helping her with her groceries. I help her with her groceries, and she said, "Can you talk to my guys? Can you talk to my grandson? Can you talk to Keith?" And then I go over and I talk to Keith. I'm not trying to pressure Keith or do anything. I'm just talking to him. "What's up, Keith? What's going on with you? How you feeling, man? You need some help? Need some resources? Let me point you in the right direction. Let me call my friend JP. Let me call my friend GL. Let me call my friend C's, right? And get these men to help him, right? And that's what we need, right? We need family. We need structure. We need village. We need the village back. Without the village, man, we're going to keep on losing, just like we're losing now.
It needs to be more old school vibes, too. Stuff nowadays, the only thing that's different is the technology. Like, you got an iPhone, the Android. I'm like, all these apps and stuff. I'm like, that's the only difference. It can still go back. Sometimes we try as a community and as citizens and stuff, and the whole America, we try to bring it back to like old school vibes from the 90s, the 80s, all that stuff, and the early 2000s. But like these, we can't let these smartphones and the technology distract us, though. it's good for stuff like this, like a podcast, radio, all that, and then communicating with your loved ones if you're away and stuff like that. But like that can't be the distraction. These smart devices, that's
Right.
the thing. We can bring back this old school vibe, but in a more positive, in a more parental way, not like inappropriate and stuff like that, and no pressure, like you said, because that's all about with the Gen Z. Like, oh, we can't, don't force it, don't pressure.
Yeah.
We get that, but then also bring back the old school vibes at the same time, if that makes sense. Another question I asked Justin Tibbles on the phone is, how are these youth in the city of Chester and everywhere getting these illegal guns anyway? That's a good question. How are they even getting possession of the gun?
The same way we got possessions of the guns. But now, like you said, technology is advanced. Someone can make a gun. Someone can order parts to a gun and install a gun and look up on. So when you have a child living in your house and they're receiving a lot of packages, a lot of small packages, a lot of little springs and different things like that, like inspect those packages and see what they're getting in the mail, right? And that's for parents, right? You are the first line of defense for your children. You are their first teacher. You are their first instructor. You are their first guidance counselor. You are their first police officer. All of those things, you should be first in there. Take the doors off your kids' doors. Don't let them sit in there with their door closed. And no, take the door off. And if you can't, as a woman and you're raising kids, call the men of your community. Trust in the men of your community. Let the men of your community come through and have a conversation with your son. If we don't do that, we'll be having a conversation with him locked up. Now he done shot somebody, or he done hurt somebody, or he done shot himself, or he done shot his sister, or whatever. Think about the worst possible situation. And now your son is talking to somebody, and I can't do anything for him. I can't save him at that point. He has to want to save himself. He's going to jail, right? It's no way I can help him. I can help him by being there, by telling him, yeah, you can hit me up anytime, man. We can talk. But that's not real help. You should have called me when you noticed something changing him. You should have called me when you seen him shifting. You should have called me when he came in and he had all his homies out front and he was coming in with somebody else and they were going up in the room and they were shutting the door. Go open that door. What y'all doing here? Right? Because if we don't do that as parents, if we're not inspectors, if we're not police officers, if we're not the judge, jury, I'm not going to say the executioner. If we're not the judge and the jury, you can't get anything done. Right now, our kids feel like, oh, you can go over Derek's house and do that. His mom don't really care. His mom cool. She let us smoke in the house. My mom let me smoke in the house, and she let me smoke in the house because she was worried about my safety. She was worried about what I was out there doing. I don't regret the fact that she let me smoke in the house, right? I regret the fact that I took advantage of it. You know what I mean? Like, just because she let, that was for me. That was a safe space for me. I didn't have to bring everybody in the house, but I did, of course, right? And then things went a little left. But understanding who you are, understanding what you want as a parent, what you want to give to your children as a parent is key, right? And if you need therapy, hit up Chester Community Coalition, right? Black Men Heal. We got tons of therapists out here, right? We can find a way to get you the help that you need, but you have to be willing to receive it. I can't force you to get help, right? That doesn't make, when you think of a person addicted to drugs, and their families forcing them to get help and they don't really want to get help, that it doesn't sit with them. It doesn't work. They come out, they do the same thing all over again. It's when that person is completely done. He's had enough. I can't do it anymore. I'm losing. That he decides to go get help. And I know you love your family. You want to be as supportive as possible. But when they get to that point and they feel like they need help, you got to make sure they get it. That's support. That's true support.
It's fun. We have these conversations, and everyone's having these conversations in our Black and brown communities,
right,
from Philadelphia to the city of Chester to Upper Darby, but to Norristown. But then it just seems like it almost seems hopeless at this point. You watch and read the news every other day, and you hear about it. That's how I heard about Sabri Pierce.
Right.
I got it from the Delco Times,
right, and
all of a sudden it just popped up. Reading these stories, especially about the youth and all people of any age, but, especially our youth, it's ridiculous, it's tiresome, it's hopeless. And the funny thing is, like, I'm Black, you're Black, you know what I'm saying? It's always our community, which I don't want it to be anyone else's community, anyone, any other color, but I'm just saying most of the time it's our people and our culture that are acting a fool.
It's not too much acting a fool. How do you reach out and tell somebody you're hurting when you don't know how to communicate that you're hurting? It's your actions. You know what I mean? You picking up a gun and shooting at somebody says that you're dealing with something. But we put so much, everything that's good is bad and everything that's bad is good, right? In our community. It's like it's backwards. And it's been that way for years. We have to change that. We have to get people to understand that communication and talking about your issues and coming out and saying how you feel, being vulnerable is not a bad situation. That's a sign of strength. You feel me? Being able to say what you can do and what you can't do and wanting to learn how to do it is a sign of strength. But we put that as, oh man, that's weak, bro. Don't do that. Don't say that. Don't do this. Don't do that. And then now we got after generation after generation after generation of men that don't believe in communication, that don't believe in talking to their spouse, or don't believe in talking to their kids, or don't believe in communicating to their community. You have to be willing to do that. And if you're not willing to do that, then you're not willing to help yourself. And it's all about self-inventory. You said hopeless.
I say hopeless, and I said it, I said it harshly only because when I talk to my uncle, right, he said stuff is worse now than it is in the 90s. That's why I said the word hopeless.
Well, I feel like stuff evolves. Crime evolves. It gets younger. It reaches a different generation. When it first started, when they first started selling drugs in the city, it was mostly older people, and the younger people were still being guided by their parents. But when the drugs hit you, right, they came. It's like everybody had somebody in their family that was hooked on it real bad, that wasn't that bad, that wasn't at all that bad, that just partied with it a little bit, but everybody was affected, right? Now we have drug dealing kids that had children while they were on drugs. Now the kid comes out and has a mental disability or is very short, right? They said that about children that were born under crack. Temperaments would change, right? Like it's like they almost programmed us to have children that would be hard to control for their benefit. Let's send these kids to jail. Let's get these kids this. Let's do this. And you look at how corporations. Let's look at the opioid crisis. Pharmaceutical companies made the Percocet. They pushed the Percocet. They didn't push it in the black community, right? They pushed it out into the white community. They didn't think it was going to be that bad in the white community. They thought it would get worse in the black community because they're already addicted to stuff, so they're going to buy it. No, it got bad in the white community. So now we have to look at people that use drugs with compassion, which you should have always done that. But now we have to make excuses and try to find help for people when you had my aunt, not my aunt, but an aunt, an uncle, a father, a brother, a sister, a cousin, all addicted to crack, and they didn't care. They all went to jail. Right? It was harder back then. Right? If they would have had that same compassion when we were dealing with it, it probably wouldn't have got as bad as it did. But it got as bad as it did. Everybody got hurt. And now we're fast forward into the future where we have children that are quick to snap, quick to yell. Oh man, I don't care. Da, 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 da. What? And it's over just that quick. And it's not a lot of reaction. People are responding. Or maybe it's the other way around, right? Reacting is instantaneously. Responding is thinking about your response, right? So, we need to understand that our children are not hopeless. They just need someone to show them what hope is, right? We need someone to sit in our community and talk to our children and love on our children and appreciate our children so our children can understand who they are, right? So they can come to I can do that, right? Anything is possible. Anything. You can be whoever you want to be, right? As long as you have hope in yourself, faith in yourself, belief in yourself. But that's not something that's given to the black community, right? And that's what we need to get back into the black community. Don't say it's hopeless. Say hope is needed, right? Just hope is needed because we can't look at it like we're minus hope. We're just not giving it. We just don't have enough people in our community that can give it, that know what it's like to hope for something and have faith in something and to believe in something. I know. I have a radio station. I was hoping it will become a radio station. You know what I mean? I'm hoping to do this. I'm hoping to do that, right? So it gets hard sometimes, and sometimes you just have to stand up in it and stay there, and your time will come. But I think giving hope to our children, speaking to our children, loving on our children, dapping our brothers up, asking them if they're all right, man, having a conversation, taking them to the mall, taking them to a job interview, taking them to the movies, taking them outside the city. All of those things will inspire them to want more and do more, right? But if they stay right here in this city and they stay amongst everybody else and they looking at their friends doing this, and you feel like, because my friend is selling drugs, I gotta sell drugs. My friend got a gun, I gotta get a gun. My friend got beef, I got beef. My friend got a problem, I got a problem. And we stay right in those boxes. And who does that serve? It doesn't serve us. It doesn't help us. When they go to prison, it's not helping us. It's not doing anything for us. It's like they keep taking from us, but what are they giving us back? So
now the city of Chester Mayor Roots, he implemented a summer curfew now.
Absolutely.
For the youth. So that was a reaction from the shocking, tragic action that happened up here.
I think that was understanding what was going to happen if the youth are just allowed to. They don't have to go to school. Last summer, in Philly, you had the young man, the group of young children that killed that man with that parking cone in Philly. I don't know if it was last year. It was 2 years ago. Yeah, it was 2 years ago. And you thought about that, and everybody got mad at me. I said, put his parents in jail. He was out at 2:00 in the morning. What kid is allowed to be out at 2:00 in the morning?
Right.
In the summertime, I had to sit out in front of my grandma's house till 11, and I went in. I wasn't allowed to leave from in front of her house. Right, 11, I was going in the house. Right, so 2:00 in the morning, walking the street, beating people up. That doesn't make sense. So where are your parents at? If you're under the age of 18, where are your parents at?
Right.
Commit a crime, where are your parents at? I'm gonna lock your mom up. That's how I view it. I guarantee you lock a couple parents up, people will start knowing where their kids are. Remember that thing that used to come on TV? How old are you?
27, 28 in the summer.
Damn, you young.
I'm pushing 30.
You pushing 30. It's all right. But back in the day, they used to have do you know where your children are? Right? They used to come on the news, right? You used to come on TV. Where's that? They're not talking about that no more. Right? Well, yeah, we need them out there doing these things. Right? It doesn't make sense. We destroy our community. I remember when I was coming up selling drugs, they said we were destroying the property value in our city. And we were. Right? And now there's no homes. Right? We got more homeless people. Not that many homeless people, but we have enough where if we could get some of these abandoned houses and fix them up, we can put them in it, right? And then we give people hope. That's all it's about, right? Giving them hope, giving them faith. And once you got hope, man, anything is possible. I'm telling you.
What do you think parents in this generation, the 2020 era, need to do differently than they did in the 90s?
I don't think they need to do anything differently. I think they need to be effective parents, right? I think you need to care about your kid, right? And what they do and be involved in what they do. You got to be, I know it's hard nowadays, right? Because we got single moms taking care of 2 or 3 boys. We got single dads taking care of 2 or 3 boys and girls. Everybody's single now. Everybody's doing it on their own. When in all actuality, you have family, you have friends, you have a village, right? We need to bring the village back. We need to bring the helpers back. We need to allow people. I don't have a problem with somebody checking any of my kids. If they doing wrong, you better check them, because if you don't, they're gonna run all over you, right? And then when I come in the room, they're gonna sit down like they ain't doing nothing. You're like, what? This whole time I've been asking you to sit down and you just didn't care what I said. Then your dad come in, you sit right down. It's not out of fear, it's out of respect. My kids know, don't play with me. Don't play with me, right? So, we have to come together. We have to be a village again for our children. We have to be able to nurture our young men and our young women coming up, right? And if we don't do that, it's gonna get worse. It's gonna be scary, right? If you think it was scary in the 90s with people breaking up in your house to steal your TV because they wanted to get a crack, they wanted to smoke on some crack. It's gonna get worse because now people don't want anything. They just want to kill you. They just want to see the blood trickling from you, right? And that doesn't make sense. So, if we don't want to see night terrors, if we don't want to be scared of our community, we have to come out into the community. We got to bring the light out, right? We got to bring the light out. So I think job creation is a big thing, right? Economic and social support, creating jobs, right? Invest in job training, employment opportunities, particularly in communities with high rates of crime, right? High rates of violence, bro. Economic stability can reduce so much illegal activities, but we don't have a place for that, right?
We also have to take the guns off the streets
It's
completely,
hard to take all the
unless
guns
you
off
can
the
get
street. It's
a
hard.
gun
No,
legally, not illegally.
it's hard to take all the guns off the streets. Think about this: Power 99, WDAS, Q102, Stop the Violence. They've been doing that since I was young. So the violence has continued. It hasn't stopped. It's gotten worse. So let's stop focusing on the guns. Let's work on the people. Because people kill more people than guns do. I've never seen a gun jump off a table and shoot somebody. Nah, I'm a gun. Bang. I've never seen that happen. So show me a gun that can do that. You feel me? And I'll say get the guns off the street. But it's the people. It's the people that are in possession of guns. I ran the street for a long time. First charge I ever had was a gun charge in Philly. 2 years probation. I did not carry a gun after that. I was in the city of Chester selling drugs without a gun. I had no gun. That's 10 years, no gun. So you don't need a gun to sell drugs. You don't need a gun to make money. People want the gun because it gives them power. It emboldens their heart, right? They're not going to take, but even in that, like that's fake. Because if I take that gun away from you, if we get locked up, I take that gun away from you, I put these hands on you, it's something different. Now it's a problem. So it's not the guns. We need to give hope to the people. We need to put the love of the people back in the people. Getting the guns off the street, that's a hamster wheel that will continue to keep going. It don't stop, and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger to the point where now the hamster wheel is taking up all the space because we're talking about getting the guns off the street. No, we need to give hope to our children. We need to come into the house, talk to the parents, get the parents to understand. That's why I say I love everything that Corey Long is doing with his Making a Change group. He got Connected Families. He has G-Vine, right? All of these things that we need in our community. So listen, give him the money. Let him do it. He has the ideas already. Him, Geo, C's, G Code, they have the ideas already to get it done, right? We just need to invest in them. We need to give Chester Community Coalition, they have the therapy, right? We have the things here to stop it. We have the organizations to stop it. It's just not enough money. And once the money dries up, no one can work a job because this is a job. It's a job. Being a mentor is a job. Being accountable to these children is a job. You caring about them is a job. Being in the community and neglecting your children is a job. You know what I mean? Not really neglecting, but if I can't be with my kids all day, I got to be somewhere else. I should be getting paid for that so I can take care of my kids at least. So get them the money that they need. And then we can change that. I think education and mentorship, man, improve educational opportunities. Higher education is not just about college. It's a trade school. I posted something yesterday about the union in Philly. I think it's 420. They're hiring. They're looking for pipe fitters and steam fitters, right? Like, go get a trade. You'll make more money doing that than you will selling drugs. But I never realized it. I realized it, and I said, all right, I got to change. I got to switch up, right? In 2016, I was in a bad way. I had played all my hands, all my cards were on the table, and I had no choice but to fold because I didn't see anything coming from what I had. I didn't want to hurt anybody. I didn't want to do anything to anybody. I didn't want nobody to die in my name or for me. So I stopped. I bowed out. And I had to find myself. And I found myself at a radio station. Shout out to PQ Radio, Sarge Blackwell, No Q Tommy, bro. They saved my life without even knowing it. Showing me the radio station, showing me these microphones, having hope in me to do this, right? And still the belief in myself that I can do it, right? Them having hope that I can do it. And still the belief in myself that I can do it. So I had to stop selling drugs. I had to stop playing in the street. It wasn't just about me. It was about my children. The only thing I could give my son was 9 at the time, the only thing I could give him was death. I couldn't give him success in selling drugs. I couldn't give him any of that. I had a dream about my son in a casket. I couldn't live with myself. I couldn't allow myself to continue to see that and continue to do that. So I had to change. When you change, you have to believe in yourself. You have to have hope. You have to care about what you're doing. And I care about the radio station. I do. So there's my belief. There's my hope, right? And I want people to understand how easy it is to care about yourself, how easy it is to love yourself. It's not hard. They try to make it seem like it's so hard. Oh, it's so hard. It's so complicated. No, it's not. No, it's not. What is it? It's in the Bible. Do unto others as you want people to do unto you. Treat others as you want. It's easy. It's not hard. You just got to put yourself first, right? And when you do that, you understand. I'm not going to treat. What if somebody did that to me? What if somebody shot my brother? What would happen, right? You know?
It's just a shame that most of our Black communities, we have a loved one, like my older brother. I lost him to gun violence.
Right.
He was in Frankfurt, in Philly. It was baby mama drama, and I lost my older brother to gun violence. He went to John Bartram High School. So it's a shame that some of us can relate to gun violence, especially in our community. And then you're right, P, on everything you're saying. You're basically saying more mental health resources and money.
Absolutely. Mental health services, bro. Increase access to mental health services, bro.
And that all goes back to our elected officials to get that money.
We need to ask for it. Understand what politics is. Politics is putting somebody in a position to get you what you need.
Right.
That's all politics is, right? So if we sit and we don't vote, and we sit and we don't care, and we sit and we don't move forward, then the people in those positions don't have to do anything, and they can keep being reelected. I love Carol Kazim. I love what she out there doing, bro. I'm gonna keep voting for her, right? I love John Kane. I love what he's doing, right? But he's in the system. He's in a different system than Carol, right? Where most of those people up there are Republican. So nothing happens with him, right? They're pushing him back, but he's pushing as much as he can, man. Support John Kane. Love John Kane. If we do not come out and vote for the people, if we do not come out and make them understand who we are and what we want, there are tons of people in this community. I'm trying to tell you, the positive people in this community outnumber the negative people by at least 10 to 1, if not 100 to 1. Right, so it's not everybody. It's the same thing in Philly. I guarantee you, it's the same way, right? But we allow the negative people to have us running in fear, so we don't stick together. We don't communicate. We don't talk to each other. We don't sit with each other. Even if you sit with a negative person and you get them to want to change their mindset and want to change the aspirations that they want in life, if you can do that, bro, that changes. It changes a person. That allows a person to see who they can be, literally, and believe in themselves. So it's hard, bro. But mental health is a major key. I've been saying it since the beginning. Talk to a therapist. Talk to somebody. I went to a therapist. I talked to him. He said, "What you want to be when you were 16?" I told him I want to be Tony Brown, WDAS, right? Late night, R&B. How you doing, baby? Right? I always wanted to do that, right? And he said, "Do it." I said, "What you mean, do it? I ain't got the money to go back to school to do that." He said, you don't have to have no money. You can do an internet radio station. My problem is whenever I do something, I need to do it big. You feel me? I don't need to do it small, right? So it's like, nah, boom. All right, cmpradio.net. We here. We got shows. I have a dream for the city to have a radio station, to have a low power antenna, right? It's the only city in Delaware County, which tells me that it's the only city in Delaware County needs to represent Delaware County. So expanding out and getting new people to come through and bring energies in, right? Upper Darby, Yaden, Swarthmore, Eddystone, whatever. Whatever makes up Delaware County needs to be at CMP. Black, white, Indian, Puerto Rican, brown, orange, green, purple, whatever colored skins that are out there in Delaware County, they need to come to CMP Radio. judge anybody based on the color of their skin, on the type of religion that they go with, right? I base you, I look at you and I base you on how you treat other people, how you talk to other people, how you relate to other people, right? Because in all actuality, we're all the same. We all bleed the same. We all cry the same. You show me somebody that cry out their butt, and I'll be like, all right, I don't know how that happened, right? But we see the same, we smell the same, we speak the same, right, out of our mouth. So we should be the same people. And there shouldn't be that many differences in between us, right? You know, you got red potatoes, you got Idaho potatoes, you know, you got different, they're all potatoes. You got green apples, you got red apples, they're all apples. Green apples, green grapes, what are red grapes? They're all the same, they're grapes, right? So if we don't understand what we can do to improve our community, then other people can help us get it. So mental health is a big care, right? Trauma-informed care to help individuals cope with the effect of violence and to prevent further incidents, right? Trauma-informed care is important because most of us, if not all of us, have felt that trauma of gun violence.
Right.
And it doesn't change. If we don't get it, it'll never change. If we don't sit there and say, no, this is that, it'll never get better.
Also, you know, I don't know how many young people you have supporting the CMP radio station, like the Chester High School students and then the middle school students. But the Gen Z generation, you know, they have to just listen a little more. Sometimes they're like in their own world. You know what I'm saying? We were young too.
And you were in your own world when you were young.
So, yeah, but the difference with us though, millennials, is that we listen just a little better.
Seriously?
The Gen Z, you know, you can look at them now. Why would my uncle say it's worse it's worse now than it was in the early 2000s?
What's the age group of millennials?
That's how old are you?
I'm 44.
I think
I'm not a millennial. I'm not a millennial.
What is it? 28 to 43.
Right.
That's a millennial.
That's a
millennial. The age range.
28 to 43. So the generation behind me, you saying they were listening? I think the generation behind me was just as, if not worse than us. When we become everything changes. Everything gets a little worse.
It's worse now.
Oh, I agree, and it's going to get worse if we don't understand what we need to do, how we need to help people, because what we're doing, we're allowing children to see us at our worst, right? We can say there are a lot of millennials that change and are effective in the community, and are helping their community move forward, but if they don't go back into the next generation and grab children back there, those children are going to have it worse. Those children, and then the children after that, then the children after that. So, like I said, night terrors is a real thing. Night terrors is a real thing, and we need to pay attention to the types of people that are in our community, the types of people that need mental health therapy, that need trauma-informed care, all of those things, man. I always had a problem with data-driven approaches, right? Writing down things and saying, all right, this is, but I understand them now. Right? If we don't know where it's coming from, how will we know how to help it? You know what I mean? So I think you know,
therapy. Stuff is worse now, though, P.
I'm not disagreeing with you.
Oh,
but
okay,
but it was bad then too.
Right.
So that's what happens. Like if you leave. I'm a solution-based person, right? If you spill milk on a carpet, what's the first thing you're going to do?
Try to clean it up.
What if you don't clean it up? What if you just let it dry? Then it gets underneath. Then you have mildew underneath the carpet. Now the whole carpet has to come up. Now you have a stain on the floor. Now you got to do something to strip the floor. When an accident happens, immediately don't blame anybody. Don't say this is why this is happening. Work in your community to fix it. If we don't have enough people working, we have people. That's one thing I want you to understand. We have people. We don't have enough. We need more people in the community. We need more men to step up, right? Don't say it's not your problem, because it is your problem. Anything that happens in the city of Chester and Upper Darby in your neighborhood is your problem. And if you look at it like it's not your problem, it's going to get worse. It's going to become a bigger issue. It's going to become a bigger situation. I remember Rocky Brown, shout out to Uncle Rocky, being in the Mother's Day parade. Down with dope, up with hope, right? So that was his thing. He was a person that saw the community as it was then. Have an interview with him and get him, he will say it was bad then too. Right? So it just progressively gets worse. And it's hard to go from bad to terrible. So you say, oh, it's bad now. It wasn't as bad as it was then. It's badder now. Yeah, it's gonna continue to do that. 10 years from now, we'll be saying that's bad.
Right.
It's all about the person that's in it and where you're at and your viewpoint. Give our children hope. Believe in our children. Shout out to everybody that has graduated, man. I was so impressed by, all the children that grad every year. I just want them to understand who they are. Right. Once they understand who they are, they can grow. They can accomplish more. They have more. You need to put value on your children. You need to give your children valuable information and put value on your children, because someone that is valued or has value will not be out here shooting anybody, will not be putting themselves in a situation where they're just out there fighting in the middle of the street late at night, right? Put value on your kids. I'm not telling you that, I'm not telling a person that you're a terrible mother. I'm gonna say it's just you're misunderstood. We need to talk about how you can be a better mom, how you can be a better father, how you can help. I know I need to be a better father. People can sit there and say, man, you're a great dad, man. I can be better. I can do a lot of things much better. And that's what we need to say. We need to see our community, see it from a positive sense, and say we can do better. Don't say that it's bad. Say that we can do better. We can give our children hope. We can add value to their lives. We can give them inspiration every day. And then watch that change. We can do it from inside of our community. No, we don't have a ton of resources. No, we don't have all the money. No, we don't have the place for the kids to go to, the Y or the Salvation Army. And I keep saying, without activities for our children to be involved in, idle hands are the devil's workshop. So if we don't have a place for our kids to go, for our young men to go to learn how to build a house, carpentry classes during the summer, you know what I mean? You need to learn how to do this stuff. Once you learn how to do it, now you know you can do it. You can go in, you can fix your room up. You can build a little closet in your room. You feel me? Like, you know what you're going to do with the closet, but you can do these things. But if we're not instilling these things into our kids, then we wonder why they out here picking up guns and they hurting people, because that's all they see. Right? If you can't see it, you can't be it. Period. And we see too much of the wrong things and not enough of the right things. So local leadership, coalitions and partnerships, public awareness, like all of those things are important too, right? It's multifaceted, bro. You got at least 4 or 5 groupings, and in those groupings you have, sub chapters, and it's hard. It's very hard, but we can do it. I believe we can. I don't like to put energy into talking about people after they're gone, especially the way our children are going, at the rate that they're going. And we always say, God don't make mistakes. These kids are crying out for love. These kids are crying out for opportunities, and they're not receiving them. And no one understands why they're hurting so bad. No one understands why do they feel as though they got to pull out these guns and hurt people. It's mental health. They need to talk to somebody, right? They need to discover who they are. So I'm going to do whatever I can to help every kid understand who they are. It might take some time. Like, it's not instantaneous. I wish it was. If it was instantaneous, we would have a lot of different people out here. But you got to work with people. You got to walk with people. I'm gonna walk with you, bro. I got you. Call me anytime you need me. Anytime. Call me anytime. 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, phone ring. I got to answer that. Yo, what's up? Man, are you always at work? Yeah, I'm always at work. What's up with you, bro? Nah, man, my girl tripping, man. I don't know, man. Like, she just scratched me up. Where you at? Let me come pick you up. Give you a place to chill out and relax. until tomorrow morning. Then we go talk to your girl together and see if we can fix it. You got to give people opportunity. You got to give them hope. You got to give them direction. So this wasn't really an interview, but I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I absolutely appreciate it. What else you want to talk about? We got 5 minutes left.
That was it. We can probably leave it at that. You left it on a good statement and sentiment statement here. That was good.
I love my community, bro. I do. I love it for its charm, its creativity, its inspiration. I love it for some of the negative things too. You can't have positive without negative. That's why it's cultivating mature positivity, right? Understanding that the negative will be there. What's the silver lining around it, right? Understanding there will always be hard times. You will always fall. You fall down 8 times, you get up 9.
One thing I'll add to what you're saying is that what you're saying about it takes time for our youth to develop and stuff. The thing I'm trying to say is too is that the Gen Z generation for our youth, they gotta like listen just a little more. That's all. But it takes time though.
They hear you. You
Right.
have to be consistent with what you're saying.
Mm.
You know, you got to be there to walk them through this. If you're talking about a 15 to 20-year-old man,
Right.
he's gonna think he know everything. Because at 15, I thought I knew everything. You couldn't tell me nothing. When my light bulb kicked on in my head, I was 25. Bing! Oh, shit. I've been fucking up. My uncle was right. My cousins was right. Oh shit, what I'm gonna do? Right? So it takes a while. You don't really know the difference between right or wrong. It's something in your brain that kicks on. I'm not a scientist, right? So I really don't know, but I know you really don't know right from wrong until you reach 25.
That's true, right? The brain develops more and stuff. But
Yeah.
sometimes like you said, 15 to the ages of 15 and 20. Sometimes when I was a teenager though, I was rebellious too. I didn't do the drugs and the guns, but I was just rebellious, like prank stuff and
Right.
you know, ding dong ditch, rocks, stone rock, all that kind of stuff. Not guns and drugs though, but yeah, I was rebellious. But then sometimes I would listen to an older adult, you know, that you know I would listen just a little bit, and it would have some influence on me, whether it be my father or you know,
Because that older adult invested in you, allowed you to do different things. Showed that we don't have enough people that can invest into our children, right? We don't have enough people that can take a kid and buy him a pair of sneakers. Your dad used to take you to the mall. I don't know how many times, but your dad probably used to pick you up, or y'all was already in the house living together, and he would take you to the mall. He would buy you a pair of sneakers. Y'all would go get a water ice. Y'all would spend time together.
right,
That made you value what he said.
right.
There's not enough men in our community that can do that. There's not enough women in our community that can do that. So now we have children who are relying on other children for inspiration and motivation, and the kids are negative. So all the things that they're getting are negative. So when you step up, man, if you're going to go to somebody and talk to somebody's kid, you got to make sure you do that every day. You got to make sure you show up and text them and say, yo, what's up with you? How you feeling? What's going on with you? Yo, come on, man, I'm about to go out to the mall. Let's go shopping. Oh, yo, come on, I'm about to shoot over to Cowtown, man. Come on, let's just get away for the day. Let's go get some chicken or something like that. Let's talk. What's going on in your life? How you feeling? Because if you're not willing to open those doors, they will stay closed. And when they finally do open, trust and believe there's going to be some violence behind it. So if we're trying to save our children, it's something we have to be consistent at. It's something that we got to care about. It's something that we got to want to do. I see good things in my kids. I see good things. And when I say mine, I mean every kid in this city of Chester. I see good things coming from them. They just have to believe in themselves. And once you believe in yourself, it don't matter what nobody else says. Once you know where you're going, once you know what you want, once you know what you're smelling, once you know what you're tasting, it don't matter what nobody else says. And they think they know what they want. They think they know what they smell. They think they know what they tasting. And so I don't care what you talking about. So my uncle picked me up from the county. First time I ever went out the county, the old castle. He's like, Pierre, if you don't get your life right, we're gonna be doing this a lot. So we just gonna be doing it a lot. And he wasn't lying.
Mm-hmm.
Those next 10 years, I was locked up probably every 6 months. Every 6 months. I got a criminal like this thing. Nothing violent, nothing super crazy, but just dumb stuff. Not paying attention, not caring. Selling drugs, stealing guns, having a gun. DUI, cell charges. I thought I knew what I wanted. I thought I knew what I smelled. I thought I knew what I tasted. The whole time it wasn't even real meat. It was poisoning me. So this is what I know from experience, that this is what's happening to these children. Maybe not the same way. I was upset. My father died. I didn't have a man, right, to guide me and show me, right? So I went out to the street and I looked at other people to guide me and show me, and they didn't necessarily show me all the right things. They didn't guide me in the right direction. Like I said, my cousin showed me how to put my safety on my gun. If he wouldn't have done it, I probably would have shot a couple friends. Things happen. I will always be an advocate for the kids. I will always tell them how special they are, even though what they're going through now might not seem like it. You can accomplish so many great things if you believe in yourself. And one day it'll click on for you. And I'll be here, hopefully, inshallah, God willing, I can be here when it clicks on for you. And I'll be here to clap. I always knew you. That's right. My God, right? But until then, I'm here. Anytime you want to talk, anytime you want to call. The union, 413, local 413. There are jobs here, Kimberly Clark. There are opportunities here. Kids they got to want it. They have to want it. So I appreciate this, Alim, man. I do. I'm sorry
Me
about
too.
earlier. I apologize. And like I said, man, if you feel, like I said, the radio station is for Delaware County. I have no problem with allowing you to do your own show where you're interviewing the people of Delaware County. I have no problem with that. We talked about that last year, and you kind of left me hanging on that journey. But listen, you can do this, bro. I know you can. I mean, I appreciate you.
I appreciate it. This was good. Yeah.
And StreamYard, you can do StreamYard, so you can interview a person anywhere. They don't have to be in your vicinity or in your face. So, appreciate you, good brother.
Thank you, P.
No problem.
Good talk.
No doubt, bro. Well, that's the end of our show, man. This is the Cultivating Mature Positivity podcast, man. You already know we're constantly moving forward with the information that we need to be successful. I want to give a shout out to all the graduates, Chester High School, CCSA, Strathaven, Penncrest, all the high schools of Delaware County, Bonner Pendergrass, right? Believe in yourself, right? Love yourself, value yourself, and give yourself grace. Give yourself grace. It's Uncle P. It's cmpradio.net. You already know, man. I love y'all. Remember tomorrow night, pal, great event. Come out, come talk to me. Come have a conversation. And come out and see the great poets and artists and comedians in the city of Chester. This is a great event, supported 100% by CMP Radio Foundation. Come out, have a great time, enjoy yourself, get some food, get some drinks, do some dancing. Like I said, from 9:30 to 11, DJ Darrell will be loving all on you. I want y'all to be safe, man. Peace. Uncle P, I'm out. CMPradio.net, it's the station. Listen, man, let's cultivate together. Bring us all your show ideas. Content creators, we're looking for that. Videographers, we're looking for that. You can be a part of the next great big thing that takes place right here in Chester, Pennsylvania.